Hey guys, wanted to do a review on the Phlster Enigma and talk about how I use it. I've got both versions, the regular Enigma and the light bearing version with the sport belt. Real quick, we'll talk about what the Enigma is. It is a chassis system for a compatible holster, and that chassis system has a strap that goes around you and is connected by a fidlock buckle. They also have a leg leash, which is a piece of fabric that goes from here to your thigh to help keep this in place when you draw. And I'll talk about why it's not on there in a minute. So when I first got this, I had the regular belt on this, and I would put it on, and I didn't find it super comfortable with the way that I carry. And the way that I carry is I carry everything below this belt line. Most people carry above the belt line, and when they bend over, sit about right here, when they bend over, the gun will bend inward. I never found that very concealable or comfortable for that matter. So when I started trying to make a full-size gun work, what I did was I would loosen up my belt and push everything down below that, and my gut and this cavity right here helped conceal it. And I just had to get longer t-shirts. I would wear out my belt constantly because when you sit down, it pushes that belt forward, and it just does this to your belt every time you sit up and stand down, and it eventually kills them. So when I gave this a try, I thought, well, I'll wear it where I normally do, but the problem with that was that my belt would ride up to about right here. So how I remedied that was I put a clip right here. It was a clip that I cut that was a regular 1.5-inch belt clip thing, and that holds on to my pants behind my belt right next to the belt loop, so that way it always stays out of the way. And I can bend over, do squats, anything really. So I'm gonna put this on and I'll show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, I'm wearing a pretty tight shirt. You can see what little pecs I have and see a bit of my stomach, and you still really can't see the gun. If I pull tight, you'd have a hard time telling that there's something there. But got a full-size gun with a light and a comp on it. And I can bend over, I can do squats, sit cross-legged, do whatever. What the sport belt does for me is it is a little bit elastic. So when you bend over or you sit down, it gives. When your gut pushes into it, that back part is the thing that goes, that stretches. It doesn't put as much stress on your holster. When you would normally bend over like that, you'd be pushing a light into the end of the holster, and I had cracked a couple holsters that way. The sport belt alleviates some of that pressure in the back, and that's what allows you to sit down, bend over, and squat. And with the little clip right there, that keeps the grip free, and you can raise your hands like this and expose your belt, and you don't have any clip showing. And that's a big thing for concealment, especially if you put your hands over your head every day for a living like I do. So that is the full-size Enigma. Granted, you do have to have pants that have room in the junk for all this, but it works pretty well. So let me show you how I use the regular Enigma. So I now have the smaller Enigma on, or the regular Enigma, I should say, and you can't see anything with this. And that's because I am deep carrying. Everything right now is below the waistline. Do that again. So everything is below the waistline, just like it would be with my normal Enigma or my light bearing Enigma setup. But it sits just a little bit lower, and the pants sit a little bit higher, and that's what covers up the gun. Then I have a little can of OC spray, and all this OC spray does is create a little gap that you can see right there, so I can get 3 fingers in. 3 fingers go in, it curves to the left underneath the grip, pull up, and then out. It does take some getting used to. Rhett Newmayer of Demonstrated Concepts kind of pioneered this deep carry thing with the Enigma, and he's got a couple tutorials on his channel on how to do it, what pants to use, what belt to wear. And as far as belts go, I would recommend a floppy belt for either of these Enigma setups. You don't need a gun belt anymore because the weight is on you and not your pants. All your pants do is cover it up. So you just need something good enough to keep your pants up. And that's really it. So if you're going in somewhere that's a non-permissive environment and you really don't want to get caught, or you're going in someplace, say you're a contractor and you need to raise your hands over your head all day and you don't want anything being seen, this is a great option for you. Because no one's gonna be able to see that unless your pants start to, fall down. But if you have an adequate belt, that should prevent that. So that's how I use the Enigmas. I'm now carrying every day with one of the two, depending on what I'm doing. So if you guys got any questions, hit me up in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can. Stay safe. Forgot to talk about why I don't have the leg leash on the Enigma. The leg leash is a piece of fabric that is not stretchy, that runs from the corner of the Enigma down and then around your thigh. What I find is, since it's not stretchy, you have to have it at the perfect tension. The perfect tension, if you have it tight enough to grip your thigh and not fall down during the day, is too tight to be comfortable. And if you loosen it up enough to be comfortable, what happens is that leg leash ends up falling. And then every time you take a step, it's tugging down at the holster every time your right leg moves, and it was just obnoxious. So I took it off. The only time I'll use it really is if I'm not wearing jeans with a belt, because this all keeps it in place really well. If I was wearing pajama pants or board shorts or something, I'd probably want a leg leash to help keep it down, because if you sit down or do some jumping jacks, that thing's going to kind of come up and down. But for most use, wearing jeans or some sort of cargo short, it's not coming out of there. So I really don't mess with it. There are some aftermarket options that I haven't explored yet for leg leashes, and there's also an alternate route that you can take where you wrap the leg leash up through your belt first before it goes around your thigh. Haven't tried that yet. I might in the future, but I'm just not really using it right now because I wear these jeans, 99 days out of 100. So for that one day that I'm wearing, sweatpants in public for some reason, I'll break out the leg leash and just kind of deal with it. But anyway, if you got any questions, hit me up.